Hi friends, Simit here from InformedTrades.com. Today is February 20th, 2014. Time for our daily Forex chart review. Basically, in this session each day, I review the Forex charts. This occurs at about 8 a.m., 8:15 GM, or excuse me, New York time. That'd be 1 o'clock, 1:15 GMT. And I basically review the daily Forex charts on 20-some pairs, the pairs I'm looking at, share the trades I'm placing, the adjustments I'm placing, sort of as a way to help traders learn. Just sort of share my take on the charts, as well as some additional commentary. If any of the terms I'm talking about are unclear or you want to learn more, add more, you can always join us at InformedTrades.com. We have a lot of free learning material, all to help traders learn. Community there. You can join, participate, and really improve your education that way. So let's get started. Take a look at the chart, and on the screen in a second you'll see the Australian dollar US dollar chart. I do have an order on this pair. It hasn't gotten filled. I kind of knew that going in. I knew I was a little late, but I thought I'd give it a shot. In any event, the order is still on. Short at this from this black line, 90.66. Stop at 91.54 here, this red line, with the target profit down here, this green line. Anyway, at the moment, I like to start with the positions I have on. I only have one small position on at the moment in Kiwi dollar. Let's go to that. Okay, you can see it's in the money, and my stop will, so that gray line where the price is sitting at now, if the market closes below that level, I will move my stop to break even. So the market has gone below that level today. We'll see if it can close below that level. We've rallied and we're sort of now at that level. So other than that, no real action. Let's see if it can close beyond that level maybe today, so that in tomorrow's session I may be able to move it to break even. But for now, risk is still exposed. My stop is still here. I did have an entry order on for the second black line. That did not get filled. So the only one that's gotten filled so far is this first black line here. Target profit is this green line down here. Okay. So that's where we are with existing positions, just that small position on. I really wish the other one had gotten filled, but that's life. We always wish for all our positions to go well and make us lots of money. Of course, we do need to prepare for things not going as optimally planned as possible. Okay, so here we are, Euro Australian dollar. Well, this is parallel to Aussie Swiss. Let's take a quick look at that. And that's sort of the one I'm trading here. You know, we see the same. It's like the inverse. I still have my entry order on here. This black line hasn't gotten filled. I have 3 short orders on the Australian dollar that are not getting filled. This is happening the second time it's happening on the Australian dollar. So part of me thinks that, you know, there's some way I can improve what I'm doing here, but we'll see. So far, I mean, I like the way I traded the Aussie dollar to make a bit of a mistake. The Aussie Swiss, I think I'm trading this, you know, logically. Just didn't get the exact pullback that I wanted. Okay. Well, let's go to Euro Canada. Yeah, we talked about this, you know. It broke out of the channel, it came back to test it, and went from here. I don't really like to enter on a test of a diagonal line. I was really wanting it to fall to 48.57, and we're going to see this theme over and over. I've talked about it basically every day for a while now. We're going to see it over and over on Pound Canada as well, and the other Canadian dollar pairs. Yeah. Okay, Euro Pound. Okay, so we did get a reversal of sorts. I'm wondering if this is a level to short at. maybe. Let's come back to this. And I'm going to delete this channel for the time being, or maybe I can actually hide it. That's better. Okay. So we have at a 50% retracement level, which is at a near-term support. Is this really the kind of candlestick pattern that I would like? Let's see the 4-hour chart. Okay, that's a little interesting. We'll come back to this. Let's see. Maybe there's an opportunity to put an entry order on the short euro pound. We'll come back to that at the end. So that's a potential contender for a trade I'll be placing. Euro yen. Okay, we are seeing the general euro decline in general, which is reassuring for shorting the euro pound. Euro yen still. So I have the entry order on here. It's a matter of coming back to this black line. This is based on the weekly chart, so it may take a little bit of time. It may take a few weeks, in fact. So I'm going to be patient on this. There may be opportunities to trade other things in the meantime, so no risk capital is being tied up at the moment. Okay, Euro Kiwi still in this wedge is sort of a big thing I'm looking at the moment. Let's see if we can break out of this because the price action is a little. I might be interested in buying at the bottom, especially if it can fall to this black line here. But for now, I don't think I'll be doing anything. Okay, and Euro US dollar. Okay, so we see this declining as well. Now we are testing the support level that it broke out above, or it previously was resistance, now turned support. Again, I need a deeper pullback. If it can pull back to this green line here, that might be interesting. But I generally want to see something a little more of a pullback. We'll see if the candlesticks become really. If we get 2 more candlesticks that are really small, that could be a good opportunity. That show this level is really being defended and accumulation is occurring here. That could be interesting. Okay, so far in euro dollar, the only thing I'm bearing in mind is the potential to short euro pound, which I was in on and closed that out earlier. Might be an opportunity to get in on it again. Pound Aussie. Okay, pound Aussie is. There we go. I just need a pullback. Same as with Euro Aussie. Just looking for that pullback. Until then, not that much I'd like to do. Pound Canada, also the same. So I had a bunch of orders that were on last week. Those got filled, and now that's sort of the nature of swing trading is, when there's especially on the daily chart, there's going to be that opportunity where you'll see a lot of opportunities emerge at the same time. You can go for that, but then as the market's swinging again, you're sort of watching and waiting for that pullback, and you may be waiting across the board. So it can be a bit sporadic where there'll be lots of orders coming in at once and then no orders for a little bit. But like I mentioned, I generally place. It's good to know your trade frequency and whether there's a rhythm for it. I'm generally placing about 100 trades a year. I should say 100 trades that get filled. There are many orders that do not get filled. Okay. Pound Swiss. Yeah, if we can follow the bottom of the range here, it's been the same story on this for a while now, and I don't see it changing. Pound Yen. Okay, also pound yen, just like we're seeing with the euro yen, dollar yen. this looks like Canada, basically all the yen pairs. This looks like it could be the bottom. So are we going to get a bit more of a pullback? That's definitely the way I see it. If we get a bit more pullback, I can enter, go long, and take it from there. Pound QE. Okay, now we are at the top of the range, which could be an interesting short opportunity. But I generally don't like to trade against the trend, and this looks like a bullish trend to me. Let's see how it looks on the weekly. If it looks bearish on the weekly, I could be interested in, and it kind of does. Okay, so this could be something to consider. We do have that trend line. That is we do have a trend line that suggests the low is in from here. Let's see what it looks like on the monthly chart. Well, that's not really telling us much. Okay. And let's go back to the daily. Let me zoom out a bit. Basically, what I'm trying to get an idea of is how meaningful this pattern of higher lows is and this pattern of higher highs relative to the broader trend. Okay. Let's go to the weekly. Okay, so we see we did have a pattern of higher lows here. Okay, there was a bit of an upwards price channel here. And that still gave short opportunities. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to the daily. And let's at least make this a little clearer. And okay. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. I think this is going to be something I try shorting. Yeah. Okay. We'll come back to this. Let's see. Actually, let's take a. We'll confirm this at the end. Let's just see what it would look like. So we'd short at this black line. How much is it given? Right. The stop would need to be above that high. So we need to be above like here. Okay, so we're putting our stop about 240 pips away. And I'll walk through logic shortly. Let me just figure out the exact levels. And the profit target, it's 240 pips away. I think this is the nearest profit target I'd want. Now this is that's about 500 pips, so 520 pips. So it's a little more than 2 to 1. Not the best. I'm definitely used to 3 to 1. However, this is a bit of a counter trend, and perhaps I could get away with a tighter stop. You know, that's debatable. I wouldn't really like to try that. So I think I may go with a smaller position size because I haven't really traded a counter trend. So let me just illustrate what's going on here. And I'm not placing an order at the moment, but I will revisit at the end of this video and perhaps place it there. Let me just illustrate what I'm thinking though. One, the overall trend on a weekly chart, you know, just looking at it, I feel like it looks like price is going down. Some might argue that you know, price is starting to head upwards, and that's, I think you can see that trend on the daily chart. And that may be valid, but I think the trend still is bearish on the weekly, and we're at a major resistance level, so I think that resistance level could be respected. If it is, I think the opportunity, or I think the way to play it, in light of the bullishness we're seeing on the daily chart and the bearishness that one can see on the weekly chart, I think it's better to have a shorter reward risk target, so not necessarily a huge trade. I haven't really done this before. Counter trend trading is something I've been talking about and one of my goals for this year. So I think I'm going to try with a really small percentage, really small position. Right now, my Kiwi dollar trade that I have filled is only 1/8 of 1%. There's another 1/8 of 1%, but that one didn't get filled. The market didn't retrace as much as I would have liked for it to get filled. So I think I will just try 1/8 of 1% to short at this level. So it's a really small position, you know. If it ends up going in my favor, it'll be, you know, a pretty small gain. It'll only be 1/4% of my account balance gain, but that's enough to wipe out an existing loss I've had before. So that's sort of some value there. In any event, though, it's largely part of the learning process. You know, I see these opportunities, counter trend, and it's something I want to add to my skill set. I know I'm missing out, and it's a way I can improve if I do it well. So that will be the first thing I do. That will be the order I place here. I also do need to revise my trading plan. So I'll create a video on that. I really need to do that soon. I've been talking about it. My trading plan has been tweaked. Always want to, you know, have that updated, have a written plan, and then you can test yourself if you're being honest with it. And you can really, if you have a written plan and you have a written journal, you can really analyze and see the breakdown, what's working, what's not, and you can think critically and valuably about how to optimize your methodology even more. Okay, so short pound Kiwi, that's probably something that we'll be doing today. Let's move on. Pound US. Okay, this is still declining. The rate of the decline is slowed a bit, so maybe it's getting ready to rally. But if it falls back to this level, 165.54, I could be interested in going long pound there. Nothing at this time. Still more of a pullback. Had this big run up from here. Okay, that's the pound going to US dollar and US dollar, Canadian dollar. Yeah. So I was talking about, the reason I'm laughing is I was talking about this yesterday. I said, let's just zoom in a little more. I said I was really excited about the US dollar, Canadian dollar, and how I thought, you know, a little bit further, if it falls a little bit more, basically to this gray line, it could be worth shorting. So I thought maybe today's candle will be ready, but apparently I was a little too late, because look at this, the market took off without me. So I had the right idea, but you know, I don't really regret, and maybe I do need to change. This happens, I think it's a consequence, or what I realized is that this type of price action, or me missing out on trades like this, happens a lot less on the 4-hour chart. when I was trading the 4-hour chart. However, that didn't fit into my lifestyle because I've got a lot of things going on during the day. I needed sort of the time I could commit to trading was sort of 1 hour in the morning, my time. I'm in Chicago, United States. So if I could, this was a good thing. I can get into a routine, set up my trading this way. The 4-hour chart, my day was too volatile. I was missing a lot of chart looks and things like that. So that's something to consider. I do need to find a way, where I can spot these opportunities on the daily chart without missing out. If it's just a consequence of the daily chart, I don't know. There might be a way around it. But this type of thing does happen to me a little more than I'd like. Market went off without me. I guess nothing you can do. I won't be placing an order, not trying to chase it. I will be thinking a little more, though, about how can I get around this issue. And I think it's a time frame issue. That's sort of the one thing that I'm thinking. Let's actually take a look at the 4-hour chart. Oh, well, in this particular instance, you didn't even have much of an opportunity on the 4. Do you have not a chance on the hourly chart? Wow. I mean, there is really... maybe everyone was just watching this level. This is an interesting... I find this to be very interesting price action here. Because this level, and I was like salivating over it. I thought this was going to be a great opportunity. We had such a run up, then a real nice pullback. But I still wanted to see the range. Normally, after a real nice pullback like that, I want to see a bit of exhaustion. But we're coming up on, this is a minor support level, plus the 50% Fibonacci retracement from this swing low, plus the 50 simple moving average. So you have a lot of confluence right here, right at 109, basically. But I guess that's what everyone was looking at, and they sort of jumped the gun on it. Now, see, this is what I'm looking at. We're looking at a 4-hour chart now, but this is what I really like to see. So, big rallies and then a few small candles, right? That's your distribution. If it happens at the bottom here, you can call it accumulation. That's sort of what I was hoping would happen at this level. So I really wanted to see accumulation plus this minor support, plus the 50 simple moving average, plus the 50% Fibonacci retracement. That's what I was hoping for. Didn't really get that. Such is life. Don't want to chase. Now let's see if it pulls back. Might get another shot. Okay. Dollar yen. Okay, and I still have an entry order on here. It hasn't gotten filled, but basically at that black line. Stop is at the red line, and the target profit is really far out, above 120. Basically, like I mentioned, InformedTrades.com/Japan. We've talked a lot about this. Japan just posted its biggest current account deficit. So lots of issues going on with the Japanese economy that are really signal a lot of bearishness for the yen, in my opinion. So I think shorting the yen on a longer-term basis is a really exciting opportunity. Dollar Singapore, but in any event, I have my entry order here. It is 71 pips away from the market price at the moment. So let's just wait. Dollar Singapore, like I mentioned, I really don't think I'll be doing anything here until price breaks out of that wedge in some respects. That's sort of the way I see it. Maybe it's just, the trend is unclear. It's hard for me. I wouldn't even call it, I could look for opportunities to trade against the trend, but I don't see what the trend is. So that's what, I like to see a market that's either clearly in a range or clearly in a trend. This looks to me kind of like neither, like it's just consolidating. And you'll see that sometimes with wedge and triangle patterns. I generally will wait for the consolidation to conclude. Let's see what it's like on the weekly chart. Okay. So yeah, on the weekly chart, it looks a little bearish. We are seeing that consolidation, but ultimately, this just looks like a lot of consolidation going on. So if it can break out, I think that would, either way, I think that'd be interesting. So maybe I'll, if it can go to the top or bottom of those wedge lines, that might be interesting. I don't know. At this point, I'm still waiting on dollar Singapore. At the very least, I can say or at the very most, I can say I'll reconsider if it hits one of these diagonal lines. Like I mentioned, I don't really like to enter on diagonal lines, at least not yet. We'll see. Maybe I can revise my approach to find a way that does work. But in general, I'd really like to see if this intersection of a diagonal line, the diagonal trend line, with a horizontal support, right? Like if I'll delete this line shortly, but if hypothetically speaking, we see you can make a case, there's a support level here, right? Bounced off here, resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. You can see, so if we get, now this would be in March, basically, right? So maybe in well, it's probably not going to fall 130 pips in a couple weeks. Dollar Singapore tends to move really slowly. I mean, it might, but it tends to move very slow. 20 pip move in a day is like kind of big for dollar Singapore. But if it did fall down there, at this time, that could be interesting and something I'd like to buy at. Let me delete that line. Okay. But for now, I'm just gonna pass on dollar Singapore. Let's go to the Canadian dollar, Canada Swiss. Canada Swiss, same thing as Euro Canada, right? We see that price channel. It's like the inverse. We see the price channel, broke out of it, came back to test it. I was really hoping for a move to this line. I had a bunch of entry orders here, didn't occur. So that's something else. I really, I need to think more about how can I make sure my entry orders are getting filled. That's I was on the opposite end where I was too aggressive and I was getting fills that in hindsight weren't that great. I might make money on them, but it's just it really could have gotten a better entry order. So I just need to think a little more about how I can optimize that. That'll be another goal for later for me to improve on this year. Canada yen. Okay. We're now heading south. It'll be interesting to see if this low is maintained. That's sort of, this is the low we're seeing on the yen on all sorts of pairs, basically every pair. Let's see if it ends up being held here. For now, I'm playing the yen through euro and dollar, euro yen and dollar yen, so not really anything I'm looking at here. Australian dollar, this has brought me considerable pain. Thus far this year, I've called it accurately. I've called all these bear moves on it, and they've come to fruition. I just am no good because I didn't get filled. And in a couple of instances I did get filled, I got some bad spikes and my price got hit, so stop got hit. So I did have a profitable dollar yen. I'll run an analysis on that, see what currency pairs are working well for me and what aren't. Of course, I think it's, the approach I'm using on this daily review is almost entirely technical. Sometimes I'll mention some fundamental things like I have with the yen. Okay, Australian dollar Canada. In this price channel, if it can fall to the bottom of the channel and intersect with this black line here, that could be interesting. And if we get a candlestick that signals this level is being respected. Right now we're sort of in the middle of the channel, in between major support and resistance levels, so no real opportunity yet, not at a turning point. Okay, Aussie Swiss. Yeah, and we have this order on. Let me make sure that I still have it on. Yeah, it's about 146 pips away. I don't know if it's going to get filled, but that's that. Aussie yen. Yeah, we see this low. Now this could be an interesting short. Let's see if the trend on the weekly chart. So the weekly chart still looks bullish to me on AUDJPY. Now as for the daily chart, let me zoom out a little more to make sure it still looks bullish. Well, you definitely see a pattern of higher lows, so that's a major bullish sign. You could also say you have a pattern. Well, not really. You could say there's something. Let's actually draw this price channel. Oh. Okay, so just trying to get an idea. You could say, to me, it still looks more bullish than bearish. This is the weekly chart we're looking at. If we look at the daily chart, it looks a little more bearish. All right, this channel is getting in the way. Let me delete that. Yeah, maybe I'll short this. I mean, the trend looks, here's the thing. So, price is below the 50 simple moving average and the 200 exponential average. That's the simplest way of arguing the trend is bearish. We're at a resistance level. I see a reversal candlestick right here. So, on some level, it's I try to make it as objective as I can. There are elements of subjectivity with my approach, but I do definitely try to make it as objective as I can, as I think is warranted. So here, price is below these moving averages. We're at a resistance level. I see the kind of confluence I'm looking for. It's not the clearest of trends, but we see the Australian dollar showing a lot of weakness elsewhere. So, and we see, I'm banking on the short-term rally in the end with my other pairs. So, sure, let's go short Aussie dollar. Let me just, we'll come back to the exact, well, let's mock it up now. So we'll short at that black line. We will have our stop right there, probably. Yeah. Zoom in a little. Okay, so we have our stop about 120 pips away. And we could have the target profit maybe there, which would mean 400 pips. So yeah, that gives us over 3-1. That's interesting, so we'll go short Aussie yen. Okay, so far we've discussed 2 orders being placed. 1.5 in a way, because the pound Kiwi is going to be a shorter position. Aussie Kiwi. Yeah, I mean this entry order expired, but I will put that on again, and we already see it. So basically, my orders expire. They're set to expire in a week. So I'm just going to put this back on. I still think it's valid. We'll see if it gets filled. But yeah, enter at 109.07, stop at 110.09, and target profit 105. I really like this. Trend is clearly bearish, clear resistance level here. So that's a pretty clear setup in my opinion. Aussie dollar. Yeah, well, this is another pair that has sort of left without me. Don't want to chase it now. I still have the entry order on. Maybe it'll rally. We'll see. Again, I have a bunch of entry orders on the Australian dollar. If two of them get filled, that's I don't want more than two on. I mentioned this repeatedly, but I think it's a really important point. I don't want more than two orders for a currency in the same direction without my stop being at break even. So basically, let's say my Australian dollar order gets filled. My Aussie Kiwi, Aussie Swiss, they all get filled. That's three orders, and my stop is not at break even. If the profit or if the stop all gets hit, then I'm going to lose 0.75%. And all those are bearish Australian dollar. I don't want to lose more than 0.5% speculating on a currency in the same direction. So basically, I don't want to risk more than 0.5% that the Australian dollar is going to decline. Now the caveat is that I can sort of if one of them goes to my favor and I can move my stop to break even, and then all the stops get hit, then I'm only losing 0.5%. So moving the stop to break even is critical in terms of getting the most, being able to optimize your reward target without taking on more risk. Okay, so that does it for the Australian dollar. Now let's look at the Kiwi Canada. Still at this resistance level, this could be a really good counter trend trade. I'm going to hold off on it for now because it doesn't quite meet the weekly chart is just so bullish that I'd rather, like I mentioned before, I'm comfortable going counter trend on the daily if the weekly is supportive of the direction I'm trading in. Other than that, I'm still a little hesitant. But the way this price action shaping up, I may be able to incorporate, exceptions to further, be willing to. You can short if the candlestick pattern is like this, and that's also why scanning is just difficult because there's different weighting depending on what's going on. Certain candlestick patterns. It's not just about finding a doji. It's about finding a doji followed by at resistance with lower highs. And I'm sure there's a way to automate much of that. Perhaps probably all of it. I haven't seen something that. And this may be a reflection of you also need to when you want to embark upon automating a system, you need to know it really, really well yourself. So that may be something that I still need to work on in terms of identifying exactly the way I'm evaluating, precisely quantify the weight I'm giving to a candlestick pattern relative to the weight I'm giving to support and resistance levels, a minor support, major support, how to define precisely all these terms. Right now, I still find it a little subjective. I'm not sure it can ever be, or at least my approach can be fully automated, but I do need to, as I get my thinking gets more and more clear on this, maybe someday I'll be able to automate it all, which would be cool. Until then, though, we'll have these sessions. Kiwi Swiss. Okay. We're basically in the range here. This is, just like Euro and Kiwi. Let's see if we can follow the top or bottom. That's a common thing I say in these videos, but it's true nonetheless. When it's in the middle of the range, that's If it's in the middle of the range, that should be where I'm making money, or well, hopefully not, but or losing money, meaning it's approaching my stop. I don't want to be entering at that. I want to be entering at those turning points. Kiwi yen, same. We see this price action on the yen all the time, basically on every pair. Looks like it's getting ready to reverse, and that's kind of why I'm interested in shorting Aussie yen, because if the yen's going to head down, like I'm planning on buying at this black line, for instance, but I'm doing it on the euro yen and dollar yen. I'm betting on a short-term movement that it's going to head down. Okay, so nothing on Kiwi yen, focusing yen on dollar and euro, and a short trade on Aussie yen. Kiwi dollar. Okay, yeah, this is my order that's already on the market, already filled. Hopefully, the thing I'm looking for here is that if we can close below this gray line, this dashed gray line, I'll move my stop to break even. That's always something I like to do. My risk will then be entirely off the table. Right now, the position is going in my favor, so that's nice. We'll see if it continues. Not out of the woods just yet. Okay, so to recap, we have 3 positions on for sure. Let's revisit euro pound. That's the one thing. Yeah, and I think what's the reward or risk on this going to be? That's the question to ask. Okay, and I think I would put my stop there, and just to illustrate what I'm thinking here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you see there's this, let's change this to a black line. We have this minor support, this thin dash gray line here. This minor support. This is a major support. I'm entering here because we have, even though it's minor support, we have some reversal candlestick patterns here. We have a 50% Fibonacci retracement, and we have clearly a pretty strong bearish trend. Price is clearly heading down. 50 is below the 200. Price is below both. Those are all bearish signs. This red line is sort of between. I often like to place my stop between 2 supported resistance levels. So if I'm entering at this resistance 2 is up here, I can put my stop right there between the 2. So I'm risking, in doing that, I am risking 30 pips, and the target here is for 110. So it's a little more than 3.5, right? Yeah, it's a little more than 3.5 reward risk, 3.5 to 1 reward risk. So we will go short euro pound. Okay, now actually that changes. Since I decided to go short euro pound, I'm going to skip this pound Kiwi trade. I don't really. I was already a little hesitant about it, and now that was just the reason to not do it. Because now, so short euro pound is basically speculating on a long pound move relative to, well, I'll try this too. I'll try. Okay, what I was thinking about, why I was thinking about canceling is that I didn't want to have the opposite correlation, meaning I'm going long pound by shorting euro pound, and if I'm shorting pound Kiwi, I'm going short pound. So in one instance, I'm betting the pound will rise in value. In another instance, I'm speculating the pound will short in value, decline in value. Of course, it's against different pairs, and I think it's key. And I am seeing bearishness on the pound in other instances. I think the pound dollar in particular, is retracing a little bit. So there may be the larger issue here, though. Yeah, I take it back. So the larger issue, I'm going to not do this trade. I know I'm going back and forth. That's often one reason to not do it. If you're not able to spot it right away and quickly and smoothly, that's sort of a reason to not enter. If you're struggling with it too much, especially as you get more experienced. But here the reward risk just isn't that great. So it's 2-to-1 reward risk. You know, it's hard for me to get excited about that. I like 3-to-1 reward risk, like I mentioned. So that may be something to consider. No need to feel aggressive. You know, I will consider counter trend trade opportunities, but I really want it to be still going to hold on to the requirement. It's 3-to-1. Okay, so Euro Pound, we have that. We have Aussie Yen. And I do have to be careful on my short Australian dollar trades because they're all. I'll now have 4 orders to short Australian dollar. Some of them doesn't look like they're going to get filled. Maybe none of them will get filled. But we'll see. I definitely don't want all of them to get filled. So if they start getting filled, I'll be keeping an eye on that. And Aussie Kiwi, that's the other one. And this one is one that should have been on already or has been on for a while. My entry order just expired. It expires after a week. But the pattern is still valid, so I'll put it back on again. That's about it. I'll have all this documented on my blog on InformedTrades.com. Any questions you have, anything you want to add, join us at InformedTrades. Register as a member, set up your own blog, participate in the forums. Participating is the best way to learn. I mentioned this before. A lot of people just read or send me a private message. If you actually get in the habit of writing things down, that is keeping a journal. And if you're not doing it, you can do it on InformedTrades. I think that's great. And doing it in public, the way I'm doing these videos, you know, I learn a lot from it. It improves me as a trader. Of course, if you want to do it privately, that's fine too. It's just the act of documenting it is what's important. In any event, InformedTrades.com, lots of learning material there. Hope you'll join us. Any questions you want to have, you know, ask them there. And best of luck in your trading. We will see you tomorrow to close out the week in our Friday video. Take care.